Could your favorite grain be silently messing with your kidneys? You might think rice is the safest thing on your plate. It's gluten-free, quick to make, and goes down easily without fuss. But what if that simple, soothing bowl was secretly hiding something toxic? According to studies, rice holds up to 10 times more inorganic arsenic than other grains, and US varieties tend to pack even more. Just 1 cup a day could quietly flood your system with toxic metals that your kidneys struggle to flush out. Here sits the surprising part: your cooking method matters more than you think. Well, in this video, we will uncover the toxic truth about rice, and you will learn how the small changes you can make to protect your health without giving up your favorite grain. So let's dive into it. Arsenic in rice. Arsenic in rice is a growing health concern that many people still overlook. While rice may seem like a safe, everyday staple, recent research shows it can carry surprisingly high amounts of arsenic, a toxic heavy metal represented as on the periodic table. Unlike other trace elements that might pass through the body without harm, arsenic doesn't play nice. It's known for being both mutagenic, damaging your DNA, and carcinogenic, capable of causing cancer. And the real danger isn't in a one-time serving, it's in the small, repeated exposures from daily consumption that quietly build up over time. Long-term arsenic intake has been strongly linked to a wide range of health issues, from skin conditions and nervous system disorders to several types of cancer. But what's especially concerning is how it targets your kidneys. These bean-shaped organs are your body's main filtration system, and arsenic puts them under constant stress. With every contaminated bowl of rice, your kidneys work harder to remove the toxin until they can't. Eventually, this ongoing damage can contribute to chronic kidney disease, a condition with no known cure. Understanding the risks associated with arsenic in rice is a crucial step toward making safer, healthier food choices. Here are 2 forms of arsenic. Organic arsenic. Not all arsenic is created equal. One type, called organic arsenic, is found naturally in small amounts in animals and plants. It shows up in seafood like fish and shellfish, and while the name sounds scary, this version isn't something your body usually struggles with. It's not the kind that gets stuck in your tissues or messes with your DNA. Your system can filter it out fairly easily and move on. Now, don't get the term organic confused with healthy or farm fresh. In this case, it just means the arsenic is bonded with carbon. That bond makes it more stable and less reactive inside the body. It doesn't act like poison in the way its inorganic cousin does. That said, it still counts toward your overall arsenic intake, and if you're getting too much from various sources, even this gentler version adds to the pile. Most of the concern we hear about arsenic in food doesn't really apply to organic arsenic. Even when seafood contains high amounts, it's rarely seen as a major threat because this form just doesn't do the same kind of damage. That's why rice is getting more attention. It contains way less total arsenic than seafood, but the type it carries is the one that sticks around and causes real problems. So when people talk about the dangers of arsenic in your food, they're not sounding the alarm over the organic stuff. This one's more of a side note. Still, it helps to know the difference, especially when you're trying to make smart decisions about what you're eating every day. The real concern, the one that puts your kidneys at risk, is the inorganic form. That's where things take a darker turn. Inorganic arsenic. This is the kind of arsenic that makes headlines, and for good reason. Inorganic arsenic is the form that's been tied to cancer, organ damage, and long-term kidney trouble. You'll find it in groundwater, soil, and anything grown in those conditions. Once it's in the food chain, it doesn't just pass through your body, it settles in and causes damage over time. Here's where rice becomes a problem. It's not just about the crop itself, but how it's grown. Rice is usually cultivated in flooded fields, and those waterlogged conditions make it super easy for arsenic to move from the soil into the plant. That's why rice picks up so much more inorganic arsenic than other grains. Once it's in the grain, you can't wash it out. You eat it, it gets absorbed, and over time, it builds up in your system. According to research from Dartmouth's Toxic Metals Superfund program, rice is the biggest source of inorganic arsenic in the human diet. That's a huge red flag, especially for people who eat rice every day. In response, the FDA put a cap on how much inorganic arsenic is allowed in rice products for kids: 100 micrograms per kilogram. If it goes over that, it's not considered safe. And the numbers speak for themselves. If compared to rice, other grains barely register. Barley has about 31 kcal, wheat around 20, and oats just 10. Sorghum, millet, and quinoa even lower. But rice can carry up to 10 times more, especially if it's grown in arsenic-heavy regions like the southern US. This isn't about one serving doing you in, it's about the slow, silent buildup. Over time, that exposure stresses your kidneys, damages cells, and contributes to long-term disease. So if rice is a regular part of your diet, this is something worth paying attention to. Knowing what kind of arsenic is in your food and how much can help you make smarter, safer choices without giving up the meals you love. Why does rice have so much arsenic? Ever wonder why rice of all grains gets hit with the arsenic warning label? Well, it starts right at the root, literally. Rice isn't grown like wheat or corn, it grows in standing water, where the fields are flooded for most of the season. And while that setup keeps weeds down and helps the plants thrive, it also creates the perfect storm for arsenic to rise from the soil. See, when soil is submerged, the lack of oxygen causes arsenic that's been trapped underground, sometimes for decades, to dissolve into the water. From there, rice plants soak it up like a straw. It's not a defect in the plant, it's just how rice naturally grows. But this natural process means the grain ends up storing way more arsenic than just about any other food crop. Now here's something most people don't realize: your kitchen might be making the problem worse. Using contaminated water to rinse or boil your rice can add even more arsenic. Because rice doesn't just absorb stuff while it's growing, it keeps soaking up whatever it's exposed to right up until it hits your plate. And where does all that arsenic go? Straight to your kidneys. These organs work 24/7 to filter toxins, but over time, constant exposure wears them down. That's the part most people miss. It's not just about eating rice once, it's the long-term buildup that matters. So next time you reach for that rice cooker, keep this in mind. It's not about ditching rice completely, it's about knowing what you're really serving and how to make it safer. How arsenic damages your kidneys over time? Feeling like your body's trying to tell you something, but you're not quite sure what? Maybe it's fatigue that won't go away, or swelling in your feet you've started ignoring. What most people don't realize is that your kidneys are often the first to feel the damage from long-term exposure to toxins, especially arsenic. And if rice is a big part of your diet, this is something you'll want to pay attention to. Let's talk about how this sneaky heavy metal slowly chips away at your kidney function, and why most of us don't see it coming until it's too late. Your kidneys aren't just waste removal machines, they're insanely complex. Inside each kidney, you've got about 1 million tiny filtration units called nephrons, and each nephron contains a glomerulus. Think of it like a high-tech filter that removes waste but holds onto the good stuff, like proteins and blood cells. From there, filtered fluid travels through the tubules, where nutrients are reabsorbed and the leftover waste exits through urine. Sounds efficient, right? And it is, until something toxic like inorganic arsenic starts showing up too often. In small amounts, your kidneys can manage it. Arsenic is usually detoxified with the help of an antioxidant called glutathione, which neutralizes the threat and helps carry it out of your body. But here's where the trouble starts: when you're regularly consuming arsenic, especially from rice, your glutathione stores run low, and once those antioxidant defenses are drained, your kidneys lose their shield. Without enough glutathione, free radicals begin to pile up in your kidney tissue. These unstable molecules damage everything in their path, causing inflammation, oxidative stress, and eventually cell death. This silent assault doesn't happen overnight. It builds up gradually, damaging the very structures responsible for filtering your blood. The glomeruli, the filters, get scarred and lose their ability to separate waste from what your body still needs. Meanwhile, the tubules, the pipes that recycle nutrients, begin to leak and malfunction. You lose essential proteins through urine, and your body struggles to balance key minerals and fluids. This isn't just about feeling tired or off, it's the slow march toward chronic kidney disease. And the worst part? CKD is irreversible. Once those kidney cells are damaged, they don't bounce back. The progression is slow but relentless, and most people won't notice until the kidneys are already significantly impaired. For people with pre-existing kidney issues, arsenic doesn't just cause damage, it accelerates it. Damaged kidneys are already working overtime to do basic filtering. Add arsenic to the mix, and they simply can't keep up. That leads to faster toxin buildup, more stress on the kidneys, and a greater risk of failure. In fact, this isn't just theory. A 2020 study published in Ecotoxicology and Environmental Safety found that mice fed arsenic-contaminated rice for 16 weeks developed significant kidney damage. The researchers directly linked it to oxidative stress, the same process that gradually wears down human kidneys. It's hard evidence of just how serious this threat is. What else can arsenic do to your body? Think arsenic only messes with your kidneys? Think again. This toxic metal doesn't stop there. Long-term exposure to arsenic, especially from rice-heavy diets, has been linked to bladder, lung, and skin cancers, along with nerve damage and heart disease. And when it comes to kids, the risks are even more alarming. Arsenic can interfere with brain development, leading to lifelong learning and behavioral issues. That's why paying attention to what you eat matters more than ever. Rice may be a comfort food, but it's also one of the top sources of inorganic arsenic in the human diet. If you're eating it daily, you could be putting more than just your kidneys at risk. Don't panic, just stay informed. Knowing how arsenic works, where it hides, and how to cut your exposure is one of the smartest things you can do for your long-term health. Which rice has the most arsenic? If you've stood in the rice aisle and felt overwhelmed by all the choices, white, brown, jasmine, basmati, short grain, long grain, you're not alone. But here's something most people don't realize. Not all rice is created equal when it comes to arsenic levels, and where your rice comes from could matter more than which type you choose. With over 120,000 varieties of rice grown worldwide, the amount of arsenic inside each grain can vary dramatically. In fact, studies show arsenic levels can differ by up to 34 times depending on the region and rice type. That's a huge gap, one that could mean the difference between safe daily consumption and long-term toxic exposure. Let's break it down. Rice grown in the southern U.S. A comprehensive U.S. study analyzing 204 rice samples found that rice grown in certain southern states, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas, consistently had the highest arsenic content. These three states make up what's often referred to as the Ark-La-Tex region, and rice grown here averaged between 190 to 258 kg of arsenic. And now, why is that? It comes down to a toxic legacy. These areas were once part of the Cotton Belt, where arsenic-based pesticides were used heavily for decades. That history didn't just vanish. It left behind arsenic deposits in the soil that continue to contaminate crops grown today. Add in natural arsenic-rich geology and industrial pollution, and you've got a recipe for grains that soak up far more arsenic than they should. California rice, better but not the best. If you're shopping in the US, California-grown rice is a safer bet than southern varieties. A same study found that rice from California averaged about 133 kg, a significant drop from the southern range, but still not exactly low. So while California rice may reduce your exposure compared to Ark-La-Tex brands, it's still worth being mindful of how much you're eating, especially if rice is a regular part of your diet. Asian rice varieties come out on top. Here's where things take a turn for the better. Rice imported from parts of Asia consistently shows lower arsenic levels. In the same study, Asian rice samples, particularly those not grown in known contaminated regions, averaged around 7.1 kg. Even better, rice from Pakistan and India, especially basmati and jasmine varieties, is not only lower in arsenic, but also highly prized for its aroma, flavor, and texture. These grains are naturally long, fragrant, and have a better safety profile, making them a smart choice if you're looking to cut down your arsenic intake without giving up rice altogether. Takeaway. So, what does all this mean for your next grocery run? It's simple. Pay attention to where your rice is grown. While brown rice and white rice each have their pros and cons, location plays a much bigger role in arsenic content than most people realize. If you want the safest option, go for basmati or jasmine rice from India or Pakistan, or sushi rice from California. And if the bag doesn't list a country of origin, maybe skip it. Your kidneys will thank you later. Brown versus white rice. You've probably heard brown rice is the healthier choice, more fiber, more nutrients, and a lower glycemic index. Sounds great, right? But when it comes to arsenic exposure, brown rice loses that battle. That's because arsenic concentrates in the outer layers of the grain, the very parts brown rice keeps. According to FDA data, brown rice averages 154 1/kg of arsenic, while white rice tests lower at 92 1/kg. That's a 50% difference, and it adds up fast if rice is a daily staple. But arsenic isn't the only thing to watch out for. Rice also contains phytates, compounds that block your body from absorbing minerals and, in large amounts, can harm your kidneys and bones. Then there's amylopectin, a fast-digesting starch that spikes blood sugar and increases your risk of diabetes, a major factor in kidney disease. If you're looking for a safer choice, go for long-grain white rice like basmati or jasmine. They contain less arsenic, less amylopectin, and are easier on your system overall. The key isn't giving up rice, it's choosing the kind that does your body more good than harm. How to reduce arsenic in rice? Let's take a real look. Rice isn't just food, it's a habit. It's affordable, gluten-free, easy to digest, and often the first solid food babies ever eat. But if you're eating it often, you need to know how to make it safer. Arsenic is the real issue here, and the way you cook, choose, and portion your rice makes a big difference. Start by picking white rice over brown. It contains about 50% less arsenic. Still want fiber? Mix white and brown rice to lower the risk while keeping nutrients. When possible, go for basmati or jasmine rice from North India, North Pakistan, or Nepal, as these are naturally lower in arsenic. Always check labels, especially on rice cereals, snacks, or anything with rice flour or rice syrup, and never cook rice with contaminated water, you'll only make things worse. Rinse your rice thoroughly, then cook it like pasta using 6 parts water to 1 part rice, and pour the excess water off after. This can cut arsenic by up to 60%, though some nutrients are lost. A better option? Try the Sheffield method, parboil for 5 minutes, drain, then cook again in fresh water. It keeps nutrients intact while lowering arsenic by 73% in white rice and 54% in brown. Worried about how much is too much? Consumer Reports recommends up to 4.5 servings a week for sushi or basmati rice from California, India, or Pakistan, and just 2 servings for other types. 1 serving equals 1/4 cup uncooked rice. Want safer alternatives? Try quinoa, millet, amaranth, buckwheat, oats, teff, corn, and flaxseed. They're low in arsenic and packed with nutrition. Avoid rice milk, rice cakes, rice cereals, shellfish, hijiki seaweed, arsenic-fed poultry, fruit juices like apple, pear, grape, and leafy greens from arsenic-rich soils. And yes, rice can increase your cancer risk, especially lung and bladder cancer. The FDA estimates lifetime rice consumption could add 39 to 184 cases per million. But reducing arsenic exposure to 75 kilocalories can lower that risk by up to 79%. Small changes, big difference. Rice might be a kitchen essential, but like many everyday foods, it comes with risks most people never see coming. The truth is, inorganic arsenic isn't just some background toxin, it builds up over time and quietly chips away at your kidney health. If left unchecked, it can increase your chances of developing chronic kidney disease and, in the long run, even certain types of cancer. But don't panic. Knowledge is your first line of defense. You don't have to quit rice altogether, just be smart about what you're putting on your plate. Choose rice varieties known to be lower in arsenic. Cook them using proven methods that work. And try mixing up your grains once in a while with safer, equally satisfying options. These small changes can protect your kidneys, support your long-term health, and still let you enjoy your favorite meals without fear. We created this video to help you make better choices with confidence. That said, if you're dealing with any kind of persistent fatigue, swelling, or other unusual symptoms, it's best to speak with a healthcare provider. The information we shared today is based on expert-backed sources and public health data, but it's intended for general awareness, not as medical advice. If you found this video helpful, Don't forget to give it a like and share it with someone who eats rice daily. And of course, tap the bell icon so you never miss out on important health updates like this one. Stay safe, eat smart, and keep those kidneys happy. We'll see you in the next video where your health always comes first.